Hey everyone, welcome back to Grind and Shine. Today we are very happy because we have the executive director of Santino. He's also the founder of Populus, Apricus, and 2 Degrees North Coffee. And he is a roaster for 7 national champions, a world finalist, and 2 world semi-finalists. He is YiYang. Welcome.
Hello, hi.
Welcome, YiYang. So maybe before we start, can you introduce your background for us?
So I started my coffee journey back in 2012, where I part-time in cafes. Yeah. So in 2014, I had the opportunity to open a coffee roastery brand, which is called 2 Degrees North Coffee. It's essentially a specialty roasting company. In 2016, I started Populus. It's a cafe. Then in 2022, I started another cafe called the Apricus. Yeah, so I'm also very involved in competition roasting all the way back in 2016.
What was your earliest memory of coffee?
So my earliest memory of coffee, probably I really don't know, 3 to 4 years old, because every weekend my dad will brew traditional coffee at home. Yeah, so back then, when during the weekends when we have no school, I'll wake up with the smell of traditional coffee. Yeah, and at a young age, because coffee is like an adult drink, you know.
Yeah.
So
you were already drinking, or
so
no?
So as a kid, you kind of take a sip of it and you
Okay.
feel empowered.
Bitter,
You feel empowered because hey, it's
Adult
a
drink.
adult drink, but actually, why I like it, because there's so much condensed milk inside, so it's sweet too.
Yeah. Okay, and then can you let us know more about what Santino does? And I know that the history started so many years ago, and yeah, feel free to go ahead.
So Santino does manufacturing and distribution of traditional coffee, gourmet coffee, and specialty coffee. Yeah, we are also distributors for quite a number of well-known brands of coffee machines. So essentially, we also want to be like a one-stop solution company for cafes or restaurants that needed solutions for their coffee, tea, chocolates, and everything.
Yeah. So what traditional coffee stores do you serve and supply your coffee to?
So for Santino Coffee, we supply to actually several major chains, as well as coffee shops. As coffee shops as well. I can't really tell you who they are specifically, but I'm sure you've drank them before.
Okay, got it. Amazing. How many years did Santino start?
So my dad started the coffee business 46 years ago, back in 1978. Yeah. So it started off more essentially as a traditional coffee company, but as time progresses, there's an introduction of chain cafes in Singapore. That's where Singaporeans are educated with espressos, lattes, and that's where we started to evolve and started roasting for gourmet and also bringing in machines. So Santino is then founded in 2000 to actually to offer all these solutions as the time goes by, and 2014, that's where I started specialty coffee in Santino. That's why I started 2 Degrees North Coffee for the specialty market.
And for the business itself, what was your earliest memory of seeing your dad working, or did you follow him to the factories and roasteries?
So for me, my earliest memory in the company is probably primary school.
Do your homework at the roastery?
On school holidays, I would go over to my dad's office, mainly to do filing and do some packing, and I get some money, pocket money, extra pocket money. So that's the earliest memory that I have.
So you spend your holidays helping your dad?
Of course not. I was still going to stay at home to watch TV and Pokemon.
Okay, interesting. And for Santino, how has the business contributed to the Kopi culture, let's say around 40 years ago versus now? in 2024?
So I think for Santino, it contributed a huge deal because we supply to several major coffee shops and Kopi chains. So I feel we are together in the whole industry to grow together.
Yes.
Being one of the biggest suppliers in Singapore. So as time goes by, as the second generation, third generation to come in, Santino has to improvise as well. How do you make Kopi more modernized, more approachable, more accessible to the younger generation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, that's actually a huge challenge.
It's a very big challenge.
Because for the first generation, maybe that's their staple food of going down the street and buy a cup of Kopi. But versus now, I think our generation, we're still drinking Kopi, we're still drinking Tessie, but it may be a challenge down the road in 10 years, 20 years. And I think it's a culture that we should really preserve because it's so special. I know that Santino has been going through a rebranding and transition since last year. So can you run through with us, the process or the inspiration behind this whole transition?
So last year, 2023, Santino is actually acquired by a corporate group. So one of the initiatives that they wanted to do is to do a rebranding exercise of the company. After all, it's been 46 years of no actual rebranding. So we really wanted to rebrand Santino. So actually, you can see over here, this is the new logo.
So YiYang is wearing a T-shirt with the new logo. We'll put a picture.
Okay. So the bean over here, it kind of resembles like a calligraphy stroke as well.
The Chinese calligraphy.
Then the typography for Santino is more, I would say, more Western. So it's a little bit like East meets West. Your tradition meets meets modern. So I think this is one of the meaning behind this logo over here.
And can you run through with us some of the major transitions or initiatives that are in a part of the whole rebranding process?
So one of the biggest transition that we have in Santino is we recently moved our office of almost 20 years to a new facility, a lot bigger. So we have a new showroom, new office that is combining all different departments all together, as well as our technical workshop. They're all in one house, as well as our main warehouse as well. So at the moment, we are also building an academy to make it a whole holistic experience in Santino.
Wow, that's very exciting because last time I first visited the place, it's a big warehouse here and there's a showroom and then there are different things going on and you can see different departments of the business all coming together. So that's very exciting. And is it all done now or is still ongoing?
Mostly, I would say it's about 90%, 95% done. So there are still some light works ongoing right now, but I would say we are fully operational in the new space.
How has the business adapted to the changes in the industry? For example, maybe Populus, 2 Degrees North, focus more on specialty and espresso coffees. How can the business, going through the rebranding, but also keeping and reserving the culture of Kopi, traditional Kopi?
So I think luckily, for Singapore's local coffee, consumption is still relatively strong. It's a culture that is inbuilt in Singaporeans and we want it to be passed down generations to generation. And why is it still strong? Thankfully, because local coffee is affordable.
And as second generation, do you see difficulties or challenges coming in to the business because of the
I think definitely. So initially, I think what we are concerned is the older staff in Santino not being able to adapt. But to be honest, for the past few months, where we introduced new processes and new machines, it's very important for the new generation to actually handheld them through the process. To show them that these new processes are actually very it's better for the company and so as long as we are able to handle them the process, they're a lot more accepting
Yeah.
to all these changes.
Yeah. And for your customers, right? They also existed like 40, 50 years ago. Are you also working with their second generation, or it's still the first
Yes,
generation?
yeah. So a lot of your coffee shop, your hawkers are from
hawker.
the older generation, but right now there's a lot of kind of like younger generation, younger initiatives that comes out to be hawkers as
Yeah.
well. Yeah. So I think the industry is changing. There are more second, third generation coming into the business, and a lot of them do emphasize a lot on branding,
Yeah.
branding and processes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about your personal journey, right? So back to YiYang. What motivated you to join the family business? Can you share with us actually what you studied in uni, and did you ever think of doing something else?
So since young, I get to observe my dad a lot.
Yeah.
And from the way he talks and whenever we talk about his business, it's always filled with passion. Yeah. And probably since young, I kind of felt like, hey, I want to help my dad. I want to take over him.
Yeah.
But for my dad, he actually doesn't really force like us, me and my siblings,
Yeah.
to come and take over the company. Yeah. So for me, I started working in cafes at a relatively young age,
Yeah.
where it's legal. I started working part time really just to be in the coffee industry and see what it's like. Yeah, but I will say that thankfully through the years of working part time, I fell in love with the industry. I fell in love with coffee, the community, and that's kind of what pushed me to want to help my dad even more. And I would say it's also a great stepping stone and not a very big stepping stone for me to enter the coffee industry. Yeah.
So, would you tell your dad back then, oh, I love to work in those new generation coffees more than the coffee culture?
So he actually encourages us to go out to work in all the new generation, more of the specialty
second
cafes, because
generation.
he felt that the newer generation cafes, what I can learn over there can be brought and raise up the quality and also for local coffee as well. Yeah.
Can you share what coffee shops did you work in when you were young?
So the first cafe that I worked at is this cafe called Oleo Cafe. It's by Dome. It's a chain cafe.
Yeah.
Then afterwards, I started working part time in this cafe called Strangers Reunion, a more specialty forward cafe.
Yes.
Then afterwards, I went to help out one of my friend who started Department of Caffeine, where I worked there part time.
So it's all the part-time jobs.
Yeah.
Are you still figuring out your path? And did you always have the thought that I'm gonna be doing coffee? Like, was it a very strong?
It was very, very strong back then. Yeah, that was the whole purpose on why I started part-timing at cafes, because I just wanted to be really to immerse myself in the industry.
Yes.
Yeah, understand what is it. Having the mindset that hey, one day that I'll help my dad run the business. Yeah.
Wow, that's very touching. That I'm gonna learn what I am learning in the coffee shops and bring back to my family business. And do you remember some of the favorite moments you had working in the cafes?
So when I first started out working in specialty cafes, I actually didn't like specialty coffee. Yeah, because I thought it was acidic. It was why is coffee fruity and everything. Yeah, but as time goes by, as I'm more educated, or when people educate me in the special industry, you can actually translate all these to delicious fruit flavors, and that's what the gist of what specialty coffee is, because it celebrates the terroir of the farm. And that's what I meant by really being immersed, to immerse myself in the special industry. So I would say that over time, actually this memory when I look back is quite funny, because I'm fully into the whole specialty industry, but back then I kind of didn't like it.
But you fell in love so much that you started to roast the beans. And you started to roast for champions and like people joining competitions. How did it all happen?
Wow. I also think it's also a stroke of luck as well, that competitors when I first started 2 Degrees North, they probably tasted what I roast for my filter, not for my filter, for my regular coffee line, and they felt that, hey, I think like this guy could have potential, and hey, why not you help me out in roasting for competition. So true enough, I started in 2016, and for the first competition the competitor got second runner up. Then for my second competition, this was for a competitor in Malaysia, Sean Liu. He took part in Malaysia's Brewers Cup in 2017, and he actually won the competition. So back then, I think this kind of snowballed myself to even more competitions, and slowly more and more competitors approach and say, hey, can you help me roast? And I kind of like, it's a very fun hobby, I would say. Because for roasting wise, you explore many different roast profiles, and every different coffee, there's a different way to roast them in order to highlight certain things that you want to highlight in how you want the coffee to be.
And the competitions are overseas, but like you're roasting in Singapore. How does it work?
So at times we will get the competitor to come down to Singapore, where I'll have a few, maybe like 2-3 days of intensive roasting and profiling together with the competitors, because whenever I roast for competition, I think I like to communicate directly with the competitor, because I can have my desired profile and flavor notes, but I also want the competitor to also have some inputs as well, so that when they represent this coffee,
they understand
we represent
more,
it together and the best version of it together.
So when they reach out to you, or even those who have won competitions before, did you feel the pressure that, okay, I have to roast some really good beans because their future lies on my hand?
I would say in some ways, yes. I mean, as I take on competitors even now as well, this coffee will also reflect my past results. So every competition, I always take it on like a challenge, and every single competition, there is an opportunity for me to learn even more and also improve myself.
What are your favorite flavor profiles?
Favorite flavor is it's very technical. It's very technical. So nowadays, I think a lot of for competition, a lot of the requirements now, not really requirements, but they try to emphasize a lot on sweetness. So if I compare my roasting from back then to now, I actually developed coffee longer during roasting, because that really highlights the sweetness much more as compared back then, where you emphasize a lot on the acidity and complexity, but right now it's all about sweetness.
And this year, are you roasting for any competitions?
Yes. Wow, this year I think there's 4 to 5 competitors I'm roasting for. So the upcoming one will be for 2 of my own baristas. So one of it is Kelly, who will be participating in Singapore's Brewers Cup, and Roti, who will be participating in the National Barista Championship.
Good luck to the roasting.
You.
Okay, going back to the family business, when you first joined your dad back in the business, did you have any particular challenges that you have to adapt or overcome?
I think the challenge would be the older staff, the older staff that has been in Santino for several years. So imagine like me coming into the office and this is the boss's son, young. So I think the challenge is mostly this, where who is this person? Why is he coming to dictate us? But at the same time, you have to work even harder to gain your respect as well, to prove yourself. But I feel a lot of it is actually this is a challenge. How do you kind of convince the older staff that we want to take you to the next level, the next heights, and a lot of it is proving yourself as well. So I think it's great that when after I OR'd from army, my dad actually didn't ask me to come into the business. Yeah, he kind of threw me out there to start my own cafe. That's why I forced myself to learn about how to hire, how to fire. No, just kidding. Yeah, and also even immersing myself in all the government grants, government portals. And also looking at the P&L. So all these also build up the business acumen that I built up over the years to come back to Santino and hopefully to change it and bring it to greater heights.
Actually, your dad is a very good father who like nurtured you, as in like, you know, putting you out there, learn your own thing, learn how to start a business, and then you can come back if you want. Yeah, do you think so? Or
yeah, I'll definitely think so. But I think like what I said earlier on, because I think my dad doesn't really have doesn't kind of force us to come back to the business, but I secretly think that he wants me to come back.
Now you're here. Okay, great. And what are some of the valuable lessons you have learned from your parents, your dad, your mom?
So my dad stresses a lot on the relationship. I think relationship with customers is super crucial, especially for the hawker centers, kopitiams and coffee shops. So coffee prices, I mean, for traditional coffee, you're looking at very thin margins already. So where there are some when there are changes in prices and stuff, at times how you're keeping customers to you is through strong relationships that you've built with them for several years.
As of today, now, do you find joy in what you do? And if yes, what is the source of, you know, happiness in your daily life?
Over the years in the coffee industry, I actually met some of my closest friends are all from the industry, and not just from Singapore, they are from all around the world. So what I enjoy a lot about coming into the coffee business is the connections that I have built over the years. And some of these friends are really lifelong, genuine friends that I have.
For personal goals, do you have any for yourself? It can be about the business, or it can be your own, you know, roasting journey.
So of course, for roasting journey, definitely is hopefully one day that I can roast for a world champion. That is definitely a goal. But for the company is how I do want to preserve the traditions of the Singapore coffee culture for as long as I can. Really like to the next generation, and how do you keep traditional coffee exciting for really the generations to come to continue loving it. Into the future, are there any exciting projects you want to share with us all? So Santino has moved to a new office, new warehouse, new facilities. We are also looking to build a new roastery in Malaysia.
Wow.
So that space will be a lot bigger than our current space in Singapore. So I think what we want to invest is in bigger roasters and also increase our productivity, production, and also to reduce costs.
And when can we expect the roastery to be done?
We hope to complete it by end of the year or early next year.
So will some of the operations in Singapore move to Malaysia?
Yes, some of the actually I would say almost more than half of the operations will be moved over there. But we will still be preserving the Singapore operations.
The roastery will be in Malaysia. Are you working with or going to work with some Malaysian customers like Kopi stores?
So we have a distributor in Malaysia. They are called Dankoff. They've been actually distributing our coffee for several years already. So they'll be distributing Santino's coffee in Malaysia.
So at the very beginning, we mentioned about the importance of preserving Kopi culture. How can we keep this relevant for the next generation or the next 5 to 10 years?
I think keeping Kopi relevant is important. So for the younger generations, a lot of them do want to do specialty coffee, because I would say specialty coffee do have a lot of airtime in social media. It's very trendy, whereas compared to Kopi, where the perception is, you work in a hotter environment, it's very hot, humid. But I do feel that there is a need for more younger hawkers to come out into to the scene. And also how are there more initiatives to make hawkers more profitable, which makes sense to the younger generation to want to come into the business too.
What do you see is the main challenge of preserving Kopi culture, especially to the younger generation?
So the current generation are introduced a lot on espresso-based coffee, and that kind of will be passed down to the next. I mean, their next generation. But thankfully, I think recently there's a lot of more trendy Kopi concepts that are in the market. So for concepts like Hainan Story, Oriental Kopi, Hainan Tao, and Great Nanyang, for example. So these are making Kopi trendy and cool again. So for that, it can encourage the younger generations to want to, hey, what is this? Let's try it. But it's actually our Singapore culture, and let's embrace it.
Because I think it's a very unique culture and history of Singapore as well, like Kopi, this beverage, and it's super important to pass on to the next generation. So through the introduction of vintage retro coffee shops, I think Santino can also make use of this trend to reintroduce the Kopi to the younger generation.
Completely agree.
Last but not least, is there anything you wanna tell our listeners?
Drink more Kopi. So for me, as a second generation coming into the Kopi business, for the listeners, if your parents' generation is already in the Kopi industry, do give it a chance, because I believe that Kopi will be the next trendiest and the next cool and trendy thing in the industry next time.
And also not just Kopi, right? Even like hawker or
the whole hawker generation.
Hawker generation.
We need to preserve that and keep it going strong.
Nice. Thank you, YiYang, for coming in today. Before we end, we're gonna have a surprise session.
What?
It's called Quick Shots. It's a game. It's a game for you, and you have to answer within 10 seconds. Are you ready?
10 seconds.
10 seconds. Okay, first one. If you can only drink one coffee for the rest of your life, what would you be?
Kopi o kosong.
Confirm?
Confirm.
Okay. Favorite thing about working with your family?
I don't have to visit them at their house often, because I see them every day.
Okay. Most underrated coffee beverage that people should give it a try?
Kopi o kosong.
Okay. A theme song to represent your coffee journey?
Wow, of course it's the One Piece opening song, We Are.
I'm gonna play it. Dream coffee location?
Wow, of course Populus and Apricus and together and the signature patisserie.
Okay, thank you YiYang for coming in today. Please follow us on Instagram at Grind and Shine Podcast, Spotify and YouTube.
Please
Grind
follow
and Shine
them.
as well. Please follow them as well, the new branding, Santino. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
See you.
Bye-bye.